Clarissa Shields continues to separate herself from amongst the average in the sport of women's boxing as she prepares to go into her second MMA fight. She sat down with Mike Tyson on Hot Boxing to discuss her career up to this point. Let's talk about it in review. Two-time gold medalist and two-division undisputed champion Clarissa T-Rex Shields, appropriately nicknamed the GOAT, greatest woman of all time, sat down and had a powwow with former champion, undisputed two-time heavyweight champion Mike Tyson on his show Hot Boxing. And this was a real treat to see the two of them engage in conversation in which they talked about Shields' career, where she currently stands, and what's on the cusp for her in the future. What I really enjoy about listening to Clarissa speak on her career, though she has met some trial in her career professionally, she seemed to really enjoy what she does. And she also enjoys how she represents from her hometown of Flint and for women overall in the sport of boxing. She actually spoke about being a Serena Williams as far as her place in boxing for women. And salute to Clarissa Shields, because she could do a lot worse than to be a person who is heading the sport, representing well, and also kicking butt to boot. Listen, when Tyson sat down with her, he was able to get her to open up and be very honest about a variety of things. But one thing can't be denied. With a record of 11-0, only 2 KOs, Shields has had more success in a short period of time than any other woman fighter in history, particularly in the sport of boxing. And now she's even venturing over into MMA, and she already won her first debut MMA fight just a few months ago. She has one coming up very soon in December. It'll be her second outing in MMA. But Shields is a pioneer. She's seeking better pay for women in boxing. She feels that they are not compensated correctly when it comes to lining them up with men, especially with the audiences that they bring in as well as the skills that are on display. I can't argue with her, especially with someone of her ilk. She should be far more popular than she is, and we do know why that the promotion and endorsement hasn't been there. But bias and prejudice exists in the sport. There's no way around that. But my word to Shields is to keep smiling, sweetie, and keep gunning, because you're doing it the right way. There will be others who will also have success simply because of the path that you have dug out for your sport and for yourself. Shields spoke of turning pro against Franchon Cruz-Discern, who she had faced in the amateurs and was now debuting as a professional against Cruz-Discern, and spoke of the strength that the woman had, being a little older, and it was a challenge for her. She spoke with sensitivity toward Franchon's mom, being able to see that fight, and it was the last fight that she was able to witness because she had passed. Clarissa is truly a real sports hero and a legend already, though her career hasn't ended yet. There is a lot to respect about what the woman brings, and people really need to take solace in what she does. Also, when she and Tyson were sitting there reviewing her career, she had a chance to speak about the challenge that she had against other fighters, such as Hannah Gabriels, who was also a world elite class fighter in the sport. And as they battled, a fight that many in boxing wanted to see, she found herself on the canvas for the first time in the first round. But she handled the situation with aplomb. She got up, she continued to go at Hannah Gabriels, and she ended up winning a unanimous decision in that fight. Gabriels is definitely a fighter who is world class, and that is the only loss and blemish on her record. So for Shields to defeat her, it was a tremendous accomplishment. And at that time, it was for the vacant IBF world title for women and the WBA Super World Middle title. True accomplishments here. In April of 2019, she unified and became undisputed against Christina Hammer with a unanimous decision over Hammer. A fight that was highly anticipated by boxing pundits, but Clarissa Shields just showed and proved herself to be a class above and beyond Hammer, becoming undisputed at middleweight, and then later in 2021, January, she took on Ivana Habazin and became undisputed at super welter when she dropped down another division. The woman has shown all of this prowess, starting out at the higher weights and dropping down, meaning that she's getting in better and better condition to fight at lower weight classes, when fighters typically do it the opposite way by putting on weight and going up against class. She is totally reinventing the mindset of world champions, and people should take note of this. When she spoke with Tyson, she spoke about certain fighters and what it means to go to the body, what it means to make sure that you hurt your opponent, having confidence and ego, all of the things that world champions can actually just sit down and discuss openly. Shields was able to hang with Mike as if he was an elder uncle, and they were just sitting on the backyard reminiscing about what the sport is and how they like to represent in the sport. I love the fact that Mike Tyson was able to sit with her because of the respect that she has for Mike. She was able to really open up and show vulnerability. They both spoke about crying before fights. They spoke about what it means and how bad it is to be considered a, quote, tomato can in the sport of boxing. Something that has been spoken about a lot, a term that has been thrown around since the early times of boxing, but also something that is not ever considered gratuitous or something complimentary. Being called a tomato can in the sport of boxing, as Tyson put it, is worse than being called any derogatory term in regular society that would benefit only the person who is the oppressor and the person that they are oppressing, to humiliate them further. That's what that is when it is used in boxing, to be called a tomato can. When they got around to speaking of Shields' possible opponent in the future of Savannah Marshall, Tyson called her an amateur. A top amateur, but an amateur all the more, and said that when she feels Shields' jab, she's gonna know the difference in class. It was funny listening to the two of them together, quite enjoyable. But I look forward to Shields when she does have her face down with Savannah Marshall, because as they build them up, the GOAT is there to knock them down. This is a person who has a higher calling, but I'm enjoying tremendously the track that she is on in the sport of boxing. Salute to Clarissa Shields, the GOAT, and many best wishes for her next debut. MMA is a tough sport, and we wish her well in that. But boxing is where it's at truly for me and Shields, and I can't wait when she takes on Savannah Marshall. We'll see just how much of a GOAT she'll be in that match. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den Boxing community. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is all I have for you at this time. Until the next time we speak, peace, and everyone please remain safe.